through the love winds. Good evening, friends. Happy, whatever day it is at the time of you watching this. Welcome back to another episode of the Reconnect with Your Teenager podcast with yours truly, Emma G. If you are new to this format, welcome. It's so good to have you here. My name is Emma G, like I said, and I am a youth empowerment through music and songwriting coach for teenagers, young people, and everybody who's trying to find their voice, trying to find the power, and find creative ways to step into it. Now, I recognize that what I do is maybe not the most conventional way of looking at youth development and youth empowerment. So I thought, what better way to enter into the avenues, the mysteries of the Gen Z mind than to speak with other coaches, therapists, counselors, mentors, you name it, on this podcast platform. And today I am thrilled to be joined all the way from Georgia. She is somebody who does everything from modeling through to therapistism, which I love. She is a master mental health worker. Her name is Kiera McClellan. How are you, my friend?
Unmute myself. I am good. How are you today?
Good. I'm so excited about our conversation. I'm so curious about what you do. But before we really dive into the work of you, I would love to sort of hear a little bit about what got you into mental health work. What got you, as especially in Georgia of all places, there's a lot of need. I think, from my understanding. I mean, I live in Washington D.C. these days, but I believe there's a. I mean, I see you. So, I mean, tell me a little bit about where you're from in Georgia, and what got you into working in the mental health spectrum. Yeah.
Okay. So originally, I'm actually from Philadelphia. I moved to Georgia. It'll be 7 years in August. So
okay.
Been here a while. My Philly people would say that I'm not from Philly anymore, but that's not true. So anyway, started my journey back in Pennsylvania. I went to Penn State, got my undergraduate degree in human development, family studies. And honestly, that journey started, or I would say this journey started from me being an adolescent, a troubled adolescent, I would say. I was pretty confused about certain things that I was witnessing or experiencing as far as the adults in my life. So, coming from high school, going into college, a lot of people already know what they want to do with their life. They kind of pick a career already. I went into undergrad undecided. So I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but I know what I was moved by. And that was more so just understanding the dynamics of my family. So undergraduate degree in human development and family studies, which kind of inspired this whole, I want to know about family dynamics and relationships and why we treat each other the way we treat each other and why we, handle each other the way we do and what we can do to do better and be better. But why does it start? Why is it so bad originally is from my experience. So, you have guidance counselors in school and they kind of tell you different careers that you can go for. And originally the career I went for was a marriage and family therapist. That was the original thing that I wanted to do. It was I was kind of set on that. But when I talked to my guidance counselor, she said that pursuing a master's degree in a therapy track via social work was more fitting for me because I'm also, like you kind of said in the beginning, a Jane of all trades. I like to do a lot. Hair, I do.
I feel you.
Yes. So along with wanting to be a marriage and family therapist, I also wanted to be a high school counselor. I wanted to work in a hospital. I wanted to do a lot. And she was like,
I want to help people.
Yeah. She was like, you should probably pursue something in social work because that's more general. As opposed to marriage and family therapy, where that's very specific. And I would kind of be stuck with that track, if that makes sense. Social work, and I could still become a marriage and family therapist with the social work degree and licensure and all that. So it's kind of where I'm at now. How I got here now, I worked with youth. That was my first career outside of undergrad. It was a residential facility for troubled teenagers. And that's kind of what started my love for that population, but also remembering how I felt as a teenager. I think that's the main part, that working with the adolescent population, I think that's what's important, is remembering that you once were there and you probably felt the same type of things that they're feeling, they're experiencing. So try to meet them where they're at. So they've always been my favorite population. So
No, I hear you. I hear you. I've been working in this age with this age group for about 17 years now myself, and
okay.
everybody. It's amazing to me how often people are like, oh, but they're the hardest clients to have. They're the most difficult people to serve, and so I love what you're saying. Is like, of course it's hard
Yeah,
because
yeah.
their life is hard.
Come on now,
and you remember it, and so I love the fact that that sort of your journey, your experiences as a teen really led you to this point in your career. So I'm wondering, like, was there a specific time as an adolescent for yourself when you're like, yo, I need to help other people that are going through this ish?
I would say that it was probably my sophomore year in college. That's when I decided on my career track. I explored classes in communications, human development, family studies, and I think accounting, like math or some stuff. And I was like, yeah, no, I want to do this because this makes the most sense for my life. And I'm actually really good at it outside of pursuing it as a career. Everyone comes to me for advice. I'm just naturally a giving person. So, and then once you get into that career, you learn so much about yourself.
That part.
That self-awareness bit is so important, because once you're self-aware, you then can learn how to, outwardly express and help other people as well. So,
Of
and
course.
handle other people. So,
Of course.
yeah, that journey, I fell in love with it because, again, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I started it and I was like, you know what, this is it. And I'm still on it because I'm associate licensed at this point. I still have another license that I'm pursuing, but I haven't given up on it. It's not an easy career field, a lot of burnout with this career field, but for some reason I'm still here. So I must love it,
Doing the Lord's work. And I want to go back to that burnout thing, because I think that's one of the things that a lot of people who seek help may sometimes forget about is, the importance of making sure that the therapist or the counselor or the coach's cups are full as well. But let's take a step back. So you grew up in Philly. Now, anybody who knows Philly beyond Fresh Prince of Bel-Air knows that Philly has its spots, right? It has its beautiful communities, and it's got some
danger zone,
other parts. And then you moved from Philly to Atlanta, to Georgia, and that's another colorful space. Which let me tell you, I love Atlanta. I love Georgia. I will always have a soft spot for that place. But how has the dynamic between those two completely different spaces fed your ambitions, your goals, and your drive when it comes to helping people?
What's crazy is I didn't even move to Georgia to pursue this. I moved to Georgia to pursue my modeling goals and my hair goals. I call myself a therapist. Yeah, I call myself a therapist because I'm a therapist and I do hair. I'm in beauty school right now, pursuing a cosmetology license. But when I'm doing hair, that's also a form of therapy. If you've ever sat in a chair, that's the therapy session. Depending on how deep you get with the person doing your hair, that's somebody's doing your hair. So you're going to get vulnerable a little bit. And typically half my clients become my friends because we have such deep conversations. So I kind of just coined the phrase therapist because I am not like an actual therapist to go along with it. It's cute, fun. But I didn't come here thinking about therapy. I knew I had my bachelor's degree. So I was like, okay, I can get a job if I need to, but I want to be a model and I want to do hair. So my first job when I moved out here was working at a braiding shop. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I was just like braiding hair. And it wasn't fulfilling. I had just left, I graduated Penn State and I then went to beauty school and that school shut down. So I was kind of, I don't know, discouraged from my beauty school journey. So when I came out here, it wasn't as fun. So kind of quit that. I still was modeling. I did some modeling. I had a lot of fun with that, but needed some money. So decided to use my degree and started working at a hospital full time as the mental health tech on that child and adolescent unit from 7 to 3 Monday through Friday. And that's what was like, you know what? I got to pursue this a little bit more full
Mm,
time. And so I was full time there for like a year and a half. And that's when the burnout started to kick in. And burnout mixed with lack of pay. You're like, all right, what's next? What do I do? So get your master's degree. You want to be a
mm-hmm,
therapist. That's what the next step is anyway. So
mm-hmm,
I push it off. So again, instead of going back to beauty school, I was like, well, I'm already on this mental health journey, this therapy track. I'm working with the kids. I'm getting that experience. Let's just stick with it because it's a long journey. It's a
mm-hmm.
nice little journey. Got to go to school, then you got to get a license, and you got to get some hours. You got to get another license. It's a nice little journey that a lot of people I don't think are aware of once you start it, because they don't really tell you. You kind of got to do that research, but
Mm-hmm.
once you're on it, you gotta figure out if you want to stay on it. And I'm again still here, so yeah. That's once I started working at that hospital. I haven't stopped working in the field since.
Mm-hmm.
Now my population has changed, obviously, so I can get, more experience with working with different populations. But I think like helping other populations also still helps adolescents because a lot of my adults have teenagers. A lot of, there's teachers that I see and they work with kids. So
Mm-hmm.
um, helping anyone helps everyone. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
you know,
Well, rising tides lift all ships. So,
yeah, there we go.
absolutely. So, a couple of things that, and this is like a little bit maybe unique to you, and I think maybe to myself as well, that I sort of thought about as you're telling me about all of the Jane of all trades that you do, is
Mhm.
that and you know, most people when they think of therapists,
Yeah.
I think of like somebody behind a clipboard and the client sitting on a chair, maybe not looking at the therapist, and you kind of
Got
sharing your stories, and then the old person on the old therapist is like, oh, okay, well, this is what you need to do, this, that, and the other thing. But you are a model
it.
and an actress, and I love that because I'm a musician, and I tour and I record and I'm on iTunes and things, and so it's like you're the unconventional, like,
Very.
glamour. It's like you're glamorizing
Mhm.
the mental
Yes.
health, which I love.
Yeah.
And of course, and you mentioned this in our pre-chat, you're also a person of color, which is important to you because we
Yeah.
have a distinct need for mental health support
Yeah.
for communities of color. So
Mhm.
can you sort of walk me through, like, what is that like balancing
Yeah.
between therapy, beauty, hair, being a Black woman,
Mhm.
all the
It's
things?
fun, I will say that. I have a lot of fun navigating it. I think I have the most fun when I tell people what I do
Right.
as a career because naturally, if you look at me, if I say model, you're like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." And that kinda it gets to me because I grew up, the first school that I ever went to was, African Center Elementary School.
Mhm.
So my roots are really tied into just, being Black and just owning that and realizing certain things very early on, like light skin privilege and pretty privilege, and just having a grandfather that taught me that pretty isn't everything, knowledge is power, things like that were just kind
Mhm.
of instilled in me. So you realize again that self-awareness bit it's very important. So once I realized certain powers that I had or things that I obtained or I just have, you use it for the good. So I'm not
Yeah.
just going to use my pretty face just to be a model. I'm not going to just do that when I can do other things to kind of help. And naturally, again, outside of becoming a professional therapist, I'm just like a therapist for everybody, my friends,
Hmm.
my family. Like it's really a very fitting career for who I am as a person. So to put that piece together and actually help people outside of people that I know, and I feel it like when I'm in my sessions with my clients, I really do feel like I'm helping them. And then they see again someone that's like, I never would have expected to see you. I'm expecting, old. The I think the population, the highest population is old white men, which is okay. They're needed, but we're needed as well. So I'm happy to be
Great.
here. I'm happy to be the face. And I hope I can inspire more people to join it and, just get their mental health in order because it's important. It's important.
Yeah.
They don't see people doing it that look like them, then, why would I do it? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
That's white
Yeah.
people stuff. So
I want to go back to 14-year-old Kiera.
yeah, 14.
Because
Okay.
I think, well, 14, 15. um, I think a lot of people in the mental health coaching and counseling space generally kind of get there because they are also, they've been on this beautiful journey for themselves of self
Mhm.
discovery, self healing. What was like the clincher for you when it came
Mhm.
to this is my time
Yeah.
to find help. This is my time to figure out how to overcome my trauma. This is
Yeah.
my time to. I tell people, my clients all the time, this is my time to turn my struggle into song.
Yeah.
What? Right? What?
Yeah.
What was your moment?
I would say my moment was a little bit later than 14. I think at 14, life was pretty good at 14.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
Like I was a freshman in high school, I think, either a freshman or a sophomore, one of those. But high school was pretty smooth. Um, my turning point, I would say, was around my freshman sophomore year of college. That was when I sought therapy for the first time on my own. And I was like, you know what, I've been through some things and I need some help. Now 14-year-old Kiera, she experienced things, but I don't think I was really acknowledging it. I think I was still just on go with my life, my journey. But I had some deaths occur, very close family members. My best friend was actually murdered when I was 16. And when that happened, I wouldn't say I became atheist, but I no longer acknowledged God or anything. Like I was really broken. Like I was really broken, but I knew that I had to be a good person. I knew that. I knew that was the one thing you had to do on this earth is would be a good person, treat people how
Hmm.
you want to be treated. And
Hmm.
I don't know nothing else. I don't know why my best friend was murdered, and this is so painful and this hurts, but I still know you still got to be good no matter what. So that was like something that kind of hurt really really bad. And then I had a pretty toxic relationship with my mom, witnessed domestic violence, certain things like that. um like I said, I decided to pursue therapy. Then I got my own romantic relationships and those were toxic. So once I got out of certain situations, it was like, all right, I'm soaking here, like I'm drowning here.
Hmm.
I had a full ride to my school, Penn State, and I lost it. So I had a lot of like rock bottom moments, but I let them all pile up until it was like, you know what, I have to do something about this because I
Hmm.
need. I mean, we could afford it, but we shouldn't have to because you had a full ride here. So let's get it together. So same semester, got into therapy. I had until the next semester to kind of get my act together and got it together, thankfully. Got my scholarship back, and then from there, again, just kind of stayed on the track. But again, that self-awareness bit, I had to realize, like, Kiera, you've been through some things. You had to talk to somebody about it. You had to express yourself because I mean, talking to your friends, that's okay, but they going through some things too. So, let's seek some professional help. You're in
Hmm.
school for this. So then my first therapist was actually a white male. And he didn't necessarily inspire me, in a way that like he helped me, but he inspired me in a way where he made me want to talk to somebody that looked like me. And I stuck with him. I stuck with him for a couple months, and he helped me get through some things as far as like learning how to communicate. But as far as being able to relate to me on a more, cultural level, that was missing. So
Mm.
I realized like I come from, a predominantly minority community. As my high school was mostly Black. Most of my friends are Black. We all going through the same things for real, for real. So again, my friends can't help me. This guy can't help me all the way, but some of the things he's teaching me, I like. You know what? Maybe I could do this for other people.
Mm, mm,
Yeah,
mm.
domino effect, domino effect. So been on it since.
That's such a powerful story. I think I mean, I got my teaching qualifications and youth work experience back in New Zealand,
Oh, nice.
which is where I'm from,
Okay.
and so the experiences of Indigenous people are very different to the experiences of the Black community here, for
Okay.
example. But whenever I'm working with my clients or students or whatever, I always open with, I don't know your trauma, but I definitely have experienced trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to share your trauma, I
Yeah.
think is so pivotal.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
so sorry about your friend. That's
You.
horrendous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody should experience that.
Yeah. And then to experience it as a teenager, you're like, what the heck? My
Right. And
friend, she's supposed to be here for a long time. Like I'm thinking
right.
in college together, we planning all these things. So it was really hard to understand as a teenager. I was really like, duh, that's
Yeah.
life is hard. Like life
Yeah.
is a little wild. My dad tells me I'm strong all the time. And for me now, being 30, that was about 15, 14 years ago. Um, I would say that I'm in a way, way better space, obviously.
Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of it. I'm like, dang, you're right. I was a teenager when that happened. No
Yeah.
teenager deserves to go through that. So I always am reminded of that time. So anytime I'm working with teenagers, I'm like, I feel you. Trust me.
Well, and that's the thing is that I mean, again, I've not experienced that. I've certainly, when I was a teenager, lost people to suicide and drug abuse and alcohol, etc. But
Exposure
um,
is still a lot.
and now you're able to pass on that background and empower your young people
Yep.
to. That's such a powerful testimony.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. One of my mantras is hard talks heal. So
Oh,
yeah, hard talks.
okay.
I'm actually starting a YouTube series. People are telling me to like venture into the podcast world, but I got a lot going on. We started. I got a lot going on, so I'm like, okay, we'll see. But hard talks heal. Just
Yeah,
I can't get into the whole video podcast world. That's still
yeah.
what I share. It's hard to talk about, but it's necessary. You got to release it in some type of way. So yeah.
I often tell people we take the bullshit, we turn it into fertilizer, and use that
Mhm.
fertilizer to plant a garden.
Mm,
That's I'm
yeah,
very eloquently
I
spoken in that
love it.
regard.
It's the musician in you. I love it. The wordplay. It's the wordplay.
So I want to let's step back, maybe a little bit more out of the darkness, a little bit,
Mm,
unless we want to stay there. It's up to you. But
yeah,
I'm kind of curious. Nowadays, in 2023, the world looks different. You've been working on this in this field and work, studying for a few years now.
yes.
Uh, how have things changed and grown and developed in how you're approaching the world of mental health in 2023?
Things are changing in a sense of I'm more telehealth now, I would say,
Oh,
obviously.
wow.
Because
Okay.
of COVID, I started this journey on a more in-person track. Again, it was one of residential counselor position. So the kids came and like stayed with us when they needed to. The very next position after that was a inpatient psychiatric hospital. So I'm direct care. Right after that, I switched because I think that was when COVID hit. Yeah, and a lot of things became vaccine required, and that wasn't, kind of my journey. So once work from home positions started to open up, the first job I got outside of that was working working as an outpatient therapist for clients with substance and alcohol abuse. And those were obviously adult clients, but it was their families as well. So I had to work with the kids of the alcoholics, the wives, the husbands, the people that they impacted or affected with their issues. So I still got that experience with just in a different way. So direct care with the kids, but it was direct care with the people that are, creating their experience. So yeah.
Interesting, because I'm curious. When it comes, so you're talking about like obviously working with substance abuse as more adults.
Yeah.
Do you not have much interaction with teenagers? And
No,
substance
well,
abuse?
I mean, my apologies for saying obviously. I would say
No,
that
no, it's okay. I just wanted to clarify.
yeah, I would say that specific company worked with only adults.
Gotcha.
So I will say my internship, the most experience I have with children kind of in that world is I did a smoke cessation kind of group with adolescents in high school. That was mostly in regard to marijuana and cigarettes, so like
Okay.
nicotine. So I will say I don't have much experience with anyone, let's say 17 and younger, on the more hard stuff like the
Gotcha.
alcohol issues or the opioids or anything like
Right.
that. So
Right.
that group, when I worked with that population, that company started at 18 and older. So
Gotcha. But to your point, I mean that like just like rising tides lift all ships, falling tides also drop ships,
yes, yes,
right?
they do.
So like what are the sort of trends, I guess,
Mhm.
that you've seen when it comes to helping one person and their ups and downs and how it affects their family life?
Yeah. Are you speaking in for a certain population, with a certain issue, or just in general?
Just in general, I mean, like I said, trauma looks different on everybody.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't want to pigeonhole a specific,
Yeah.
you
So I
know.
would say, my experience so far, with being like a therapist in different ways, I've noticed that they just need consistency. They need someone that is genuinely there, not to like want anything outside of wanting the best for them. Um, from my experience now with the companies I work for, I see so much progress. It's not
Mm,
scary, but it's like, what's the catch? I also get a chance to get a lot more feedback, so maybe that's why, and my clients give like excellent feedback. So I'm like, okay, but I also get to see the progress with their assessments. We do monthly assessments on them just to see like, are you as anxious as you were about a
mm,
month ago? Are you really doing those breathing exercises? Are you really, checking those cognitive distortions with those cognitive clarities that we work through? Are you really using those coping skills? Because I'll be able to tell if, you're reporting something other than what's being expressed. But I don't know. I just think that just making sure you're genuine. You're genuine with clients, they'll be able to tell. I don't know. I think people in general have a good sense of an energy. They can tell when you're not feeling it. They can tell when
of course.
if you're not, you're not engaged. If you don't care, if you're looking somewhere else, because I do video sessions, so sometimes I do over the phone too. But yeah. I hope I answered your question. I don't know.
No,
I think.
you're good. You're good. You're good. You've spawned another question though. So two things. One, you mentioned cognitive distortion
Mhm.
versus cognitive
Clarity.
clarities.
Yeah.
Can you, for anybody who's listening right now who
Wow.
has no idea what those are,
Yeah.
what are you talking about, Kiera? Talk to
Oh,
us.
so listen, a non-professional, like with the words and all that way to say it. I'm
Speak to
like,
us like we're normal people. Come
yeah,
on now.
why did I just put myself up for that? Okay, so basically, if you think about the words and kind of break them down, cognitive has to do with the brain and like how you
Mhm,
think. And then the distortion is obviously like something's wrong. So it's
mhm,
like a thought process that it has flaw. It's flawed. It's a flawed thought process. So, example would be over exaggerating. That's a thought process that is considered a cognitive distortion
mhm,
where someone may say things like always, this always happens to me. I
mhm,
never, I'm never gonna get anywhere in life. Just over exaggerating the thought process in a detrimental way.
mhm,
Um, and then the clarity would be for me if I have a client that's constantly reaffirming themselves negatively like that. I try to get them to balance it with the clarity as well. So like, okay, if you're gonna all say I'm never gonna get somewhere, we'll also practice I'm always going to get somewhere. We have to balance it because you have to get some practice with not saying that all the time.
yeah.
You're used to that thought process. So you have to work through it. It takes a lot of practice when you're used to thinking a certain way.
Uh-huh.
So when I have my clients coming to me, I have them give me examples of like, okay, so what was going on? I have one client she goes down a rabbit hole, rabbit hole of just negative thought processes. So I make her climb back up it. Okay, you did all that negative thinking. That's cool. What's the opposite of those?
Mhm,
Because
mhm.
also, what's the evidence do you have to prove all of that negative stuff is going to happen? We also, as I think humans, we tend to just like think negatively, foreshadow negatively for no reason. So if you're going to do it positively too. Set
Mhm.
yourself up for failure, that's fine, but also set yourself up for the good. You
Cognitive reframing. Amen to
yeah,
that.
yeah. You have to find balance. The world is hard enough. Why are you being more hard on yourself?
Yeah,
It's
yeah. No,
self-care, self-love. You gotta provide that balance. Now, when you get to a certain level, you'll start to talk to yourself more kindly, more often than the negative, because the negative
mm,
will start to not make any sense. Like, why am I doing
mm,
that to me? You know? Takes a
I
lot of
love that.
takes a lot of practice, but we work through it. And again, you get to see it when they come to session and they share like their experience. They're like, yeah, I was doing it, but then I did this, and I okay, all right.
Yeah. No, I love that. I get a lot of my kids to my teenagers to write the positive, the
Mhm.
counterbalance into
Yes.
song. So it's like,
Mhm.
because affirmations was something that I was raised with as a child.
Mhm.
And I used to get so sick of them. I'm like, Mom, I don't
I don't
I
like
don't I don't like to look at myself in the mirror and say, I am beautiful. I
yeah,
am black and beautiful.
I
I am.
love it.
I hated it.
Your
But
mom is great for that though.
listen, I did not realize that until I moved to this
I was about to say,
country.
when did you realize that it was a good thing?
When I went to the Black History Museum and learned about the paper bag test, I had no idea.
There
So
we go.
hats off to my mother.
Yes.
But anyways, I said that to me like I did not like those positive affirmations, so
Okay.
I always turn them into song. So that's what I get my kids to do. So
Okay.
I love that you're doing that work in a way that's like accessible
Yes.
and fun,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
that cognitive reframe is such an important part. I have one more question before we've got to bounce because I feel like we could talk forever.
Yeah.
I super appreciate you.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you've gone from in person to a lot of telehealth stuff.
Yeah.
What have been like the positives or the benefits that you've found with telehealth in comparison to the in person therapy?
I will say most of my in-person work was group work. I had
Oh.
because it was with the and on the hospital floor with the adolescents, so I had anywhere from like 10 to 40 adolescents at once, and
Wow, that's a lot.
yeah, it was a lot. But and then the outpatient work was like a group, so like 10 to 15 on that. But again, if I did one-on-one with them, that was rare, but we offered it.
Hmm.
So I will say that the telehealth, I like it a little bit more, and I don't know why. I will say, I wish it was a mixture. I wish we could do a mixture in a sense, because the telehealth bit, those clients are more voluntary. They signed
Mm,
they signed up for it, so they're more ready and willing to work. And I think I'm a very assertive therapist. I'm not aggressive, I'm not disrespectful, but I'm very hold you accountable, and you came here for this, so remember you said that. And my memory is great. So yeah, so I think the telehealth world is a little bit more fitting for me now, because again, these clients want to be here more so than when I was in person. Those clients were mandated, or like, I don't know what it's called in Washington, but it's called 1013 here. It's called 302 in Philadelphia. So like, against their will. It was very rare where we had voluntary clients. So yeah, that's the difference. That's the difference.
that's a huge difference. That's a
Yeah,
huge
want
difference.
to work, and I love what I do. So when I have clients show up, and they
Yeah.
schedule themselves. They look at my schedule. They schedule themselves. So when I have a client finish a session and then they go automatically book the next session, I'm like, okay, good job. Like, you're ready. And then they do it right after session, so I'm like, you're on a high. But sometimes they don't show up eventually, the next week. But I like my adolescent clients, because their parents kind of help hold them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. I love the work you're doing. It's again, it's really awesome for me on a
yeah,
selfish level to meet someone who has that, like, that just juxtaposition between like one career and another, and you're just like balancing that. Therapy is like,
yes.
I feel you. That's brilliant. That's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. For those who want to keep in touch with you, how can people best access the wonderful Kiera?
So, for therapy, I have an Instagram now. I don't really use it much, but you can still contact me on there. It has my link to, book me if you're in Georgia. That's the only place I'm currently licensed in. And I am currently accepting clients right now, through two different companies. So one company I service therapy only clients, and then another company I service therapy and coach clients.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends on what type of services you're looking for, how in depth. So should I write it somewhere, or like spell
Oh,
it for
well,
you?
we'll put it in the description of the
Okay.
video. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So Instagram,
Yes.
we are here. Thank you so much
Thank
for the
you.
conversation. Therapy. It's listen. If 2020 onwards has taught us nothing,
We need it.
nothing else, it should be that our mental health, our emotional health, health, full
Is
stop, are
important.
imperative. So
Yeah.
thank you for the work that you're doing. I'm super excited to see how your therapy goes.
Yeah.
And and of course, if you want to keep in touch with me, my name is Emma G. And once you've gone to see Kiera, we can turn those affirmations and all that beautiful work that she's doing with you into dope songs that'll serve you right into the future. Until next time, friends, be kind, be safe, spread love like it's going out of fashion. And remember, this is your life. The world may try to put you into boxes, tell you who you are, tell you what labels to ascribe to yourself, tell you how to show up. But you have the pen, friends. You have the ability to write your own song. Make it a masterpiece. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Breaking in my headspace, I'm trying to get my feelings straight. I've overthought my mistakes, I turn water to wine, so hard to stay sober. I'm damaged and I'm love stoned, so hard to remain in control. Rewriting what I thought I'd know, and I'm drinking it in, but the lesson ain't over. And I can almost pinpoint where we went wrong. I'm not about the sad songs, the foundation said I'm good to go. No matter I used to be, but I'm not going down quietly. I know I create my destiny. When it's bright as light, the evergreen knows it. I left behind the what if. I broke up with the negative. I'm flirting with abundance, and I'm drinking it in. My purpose is magic. And I can almost pinpoint where my love began. I'm so glad that I know who I am, 'cause I'm the woman, I'm not the man. Whoa. No matter what comes my way, I'll be loving every step I take. I'm a legend, make no mistake. I'm living proof that love wins. No matter what the future holds, I'll be here and I'm not letting go. I'm a legend, baby, you should know. I'm living proof that love wins. I'm living proof that love wins. I'm living proof that love wins. I'm living proof that love wins.